How long do you stay there? Till June 6th?
Stay in Liverpool so we could get a transfer to Reading. That's where my home base was for
Reading?
Reading, England. You know to go to England?
Yeah,
What part of England you
landed in Southampton, went to Banbury,
at? That's
railway station in Banbury.
What was your routine over there?
we landed in Liverpool.
What were you doing? Still training or just
Yeah,
milling around waiting for
you're still trained.
on the gliders?
Oh well, yeah, you had a lot of training, and so your quartermaster still had to feed and clothe that division. That was my job.
How much leave did y'all get?
Didn't get any.
Oh, you didn't get a chance to go to London or do any
Yeah,
sightseeing?
like you get a pass, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, get a weekend pass. But for as long as I was in England, I didn't get anything but weekend passes, or 3-a-day pass or something like that. Yeah, I went to London. I went all over there.
So when you were there, there wasn't any bombings from the V6 rockets from Germany?
And you had your buzz bombs.
Yeah, buzz bombs.
Yeah, about every night.
What were they like?
Well, you finally got used to them.
What to hone in on the sound to where you can avoid
Oh,
where it's going to land?
And the first night we got there, we had to go to the bomb shelter. There's buzz coming over.
But didn't really bother you. Just got used to it. And everybody, acclimated
No,
to the.
well, they wasn't. None of them never fell close to our camp anyway.
They do much damage.
Well, they were trying to hit London and those places like that. I was about 60 miles from London.
Huh.
We had plenty to do.
Yeah, but you make it sound like it wasn't really that big a deal just to have some bombs flying around the city.
Well, it wasn't in England, but it was later on.
Oh, later on, yeah, but the bombs in England.
No,
Well, they were buzz bombs. They were shot over in
Right.
Germany.
Right,
Went
V6
from Germany
rockets.
all the way over to London.
yeah.
But they weren't like somebody coming in with an airplane dropping the bomb.
Okay, so what you're talking about, like one a night or?
Well, they had a few. Planes come over at night and drop bombs, but they wasn't trying to hit. They were trying to hit the bigger places and where we were at.
Factories and military stuff.
Big cities, bigger
Yeah.
cities.
Not the population of the churches or the stores or stuff like that.
They really weren't that precise anyway.
They didn't care what they hit once they turned them loose.
Well, they couldn't guide them no way. Whenever they run out of fuel, that's where they drop.
That's the buzz bombs.
But those things travel slow. They were. Oh, that aggravates you right much.
So you was hung in there and went through your routine in England until when? How long were you at Liverpool?
I didn't say that, but just long enough to get transportation out to Reading.
What happened? How long did you stay at Reading?
Reading, let's see, got there. Well, I stayed there till 3 days before D-Day, June the 6th.
Where'd you go then?
Went across the channel.
Got ready to go across.
Yeah, we sailed on across D-Day on June the 6th. That was D-Day.
Right, but what were you doing from June 3rd? Rehearsing? Didn't they have a lot of dry landings?
Area.
Huh?
We were in what you call a Martian area, wasn't it? Yeah, where you prepared you to go.
What, did you do any practice landings?
Let's see, we went there the
They
third,
was getting ready to prepare to go across the
the
channel.
third
Packing
time
up your stuff.
before the real invasion. We had 3 dry runs. We'd go across the
Okay,
channel.
so you did have some dry runs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had several of those. Had 3, I know. You'd go across, you could see the friends, but
Did you know which one was the real one?
no, not till just before on the 5th, before we took off.
You knew that next one was going to be a
I
real?
told you then, that was it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I was under the impression that they just kept doing dry runs and until you saw the ammunition loaded up on the boat, you know, you kind of knew it was a dry run. Did you know the first one was a dry run?
You couldn't tell which was what.
Did you know the first one was a dry run?
No, I didn't know it.
So you thought it was a real thing?
Well, yeah, as far as we knew, it was a real thing. But on this, before we went, that's back to third. No, it was, let's say third. Eisenhower came to the division and made a talk to all of them. Said you're going to be in the greatest show that's ever been on earth before.
Where was this at?
That was in the Martian area, just before D-Day.
Who was he speaking to? How many men?
Speaking of, oh, well, and, they had.
About 20,000?
I don't forgot now how many was in the area. It was different. You had several of them, but he went to all.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you.
All of them. It was in the 101st Airborne.
He's the only speaker? Was he the only speaker?
No. That general would always speak to.
Basically just everybody getting up there, give you a good pep talk and get you...
What if fed you good in those Martian areas, give you steaks, everything.
Getting you ready for the big one.
You didn't get him one, did you? Well, yeah, they would give you the best food you could get there.
So what time did you leave on June 5th for the invasion?
Well, let's see. On the invasion, see, I didn't go in on Clyde, I went in on the LST.
Mm-hmm.
They changed plans, and I was on the LST, got on the LST 2 days. I stayed on it 2 days for the invasion.
You were on the LST for like 2 days?
Yeah, but you weren't moving, there wasn't but 22 miles across there.
Yeah, I was just out there, that was all.
Just out there in the water.
That's right.
They had enough rations and food for you to...
Oh, yeah, they had.
Well, they just kept bringing it out there to his boat then.
Well, they had plenty of it on that boat, LST.
How many men were on the LST?
I don't really know, man, I sure don't.
50, 100,
Uh,
a dozen?
they had right many on there. I'd say there's several hundred on there. They'd have different companies on different groups, but they went along, stayed along together.
How big is an LST?
It's a right good size ship, but they are built so they can go in close to the land. They got a ramp. You say no way you let the ramp down and you're...
Yeah, but my vision of those from the movies that everybody's packed in there like sardines and there's only standing room only. Not much spot to sit down.
That was when they were getting off. Yeah. You had to, when we got off, we got in, I'd say water was about 2 or 3 feet deep.
When did you start the moving for the invasion? When did you start moving across the channel? On June 5th?
Well, we were out there, but see, just like Bob said, it wasn't but 20-some miles across there. He wasn't doing anything but just waiting.
Uh-huh. Well, you heard the bombs starting to go off at what, dawn?
After you got over there, you crossed the channel, you did.
Well, I thought you told me one time you were on the boat from like, or in ready position from like 9 p.m. until like 4 p.m. the next day or something like that?
And I think we stayed on that boat at least for a day or better.
But how long were you in ready position to land? How long did you have to stand up and get ready to land?
We had to ride your while because the boats couldn't get in there. They were sinking so many of them. See, I was supposed to get in there on D-Day H plus 2 hours.
Which is what?
That would have been
June 6, 1944.
2 a.m.? What's plus 2 hours? 8 a.m. or
Well, that was, let's see, I believe each hour was 6 o'clock, wasn't
I believe it was.
it? I think it
don't
was. I
remember
was supposed to
that.
get in at 8 o'clock.
You're supposed to get in there at 8
That
o'clock in the morning.
That morning. But we didn't get off until 10 that night. We didn't go in until 10.
How far from the shore were you during that time that you were just circling around?
Just, it was, just a short distance, eh?
Did you see the beach from where you were waiting to go in?
Oh, yeah.
So you could hear all the cannon fire and the gunfire.
Yeah, you had all the, these battleships like that. One, I mean, just continuous throwing bombs in North France, normally.
Were any bombs landing around your watercraft?
Well, they were shelling some, yeah, some of the bombs fell outside of sunk all those ships like that. Shoot. We lost about 40-some% of our men going in.
Off that boat,
Off
LST,
of their whole division.
the whole division.
Yeah.
Before they were unloaded, they lost 40% of the watercraft from the bad weather and from gunfire, cannon fire.
Okay, now was anybody getting nervous at that time?
Yeah, you were nervous.
What was it like inside that boat?
Scared to death too.
What was it like inside the boat?
Once you got off the boat,
I mean, you have all this waiting around that you're supposed to be doing because you're like 12 hours overdue. And what was your responsibility when you got off the boat?
that's what we were supposed to get. We had a map showing us where to go. And we were supposed to go to a certain place, and all of them get together, all your company.
Now, were you supposed to go in with firearms or with rifles or just equipment?
You went in with a carbine.
So you had your own,
Yeah.
what, M16? Was the whole place supposed to be secured by the time you went in?
No.
So it was just a schedule that
Right.
when they landed at 6 a.m., you're supposed to be in there 2 hours later.
That's right.
That's pretty optimistic planning, wasn't it?
Well, then you could do better though.
And y'all finally went in, did you have any firing, gunfire going on when you went in?
Very little inside at the night time. Very little.
What'd the beaches look like?
Well, it's dark. You couldn't do that when we went in.
So it wasn't like there was a lot of bodies scattered up and down the beach, or
You could, Germans kept flying reconnaissance planes over all the time. And the moon was shining so bright you could see the pilot working the controls in those planes. He was so low. But he had orders not to shoot at him.
why?
Give your position away. That's what he wanted. Then they'd throw some bombs on you.
That's interesting.
You had orders not to fire the plane.
Well, tell me what happened when you landed. How deep was the water?
Water, that's about, we could drive the Jeep off the LST.
So about 4 feet, 3 feet
But
deep.
see, all of those Jeeps were water, had been treated, water repelled and everything. And then as soon as you got on shore, you had to take some of that off, put your fan belts on your Jeeps and all of that.
Oh, I see.
Now,
We had the air intake stacks above the top of the windshield so you could go in. As long as you get your air intake above the water line, take the fan belt off, it'll run out of
everything
water.
built up, so that the water wouldn't get in there.
Now, were you driving or were you
Nah,
on foot?
I wasn't Jeep driving.
So what were you supposed to do? You're supposed to go in and regroup where?
Well, we've had the maps and all, I done forgot them. It was about a couple of miles in.
So you just kept following the guy in front of you?
The paratroopers had already jumped in,
Uh-huh.
and we were supposed to make contact with them.
Did you come in contact with any barbed wire or any of those other fortifications they had in the water?
Nah, they didn't.
Where'd you land? Where did you land?
What?
Where did your group land at? Which beach?
We landed at, see, I've forgotten there. Which one was the beach that had all the trouble on?
Omaha.
Omaha?
No, we landed on
Norman?
the other one. Omaha is the one that, that they had all the trouble on. The beach we went in, of just level, we didn't have a bit of trouble.
So you landed where you're supposed to?
Yeah.
Okay, so that part went right.
Mm.
So you landed where you're supposed to, not off site.
Yeah, we were.
You were on target.
Let's see, what was Omaha and what was the other one?
No,
No, the other beach head was, I don't forget what the other one was.
I have to pull out D-Day to figure it out. Can't find on it. So your group just moved through the darkness until they met up with the paratroopers?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all just pretty much walked on in and kept moving.
We got where we were supposed to go, we stayed there till it got daylight.
Did y'all encounter a sniper fire at y'all?
Not then, There wasn't no firing on that night at all.
Just pretty much had the German planes run doing their recon.
All you had German reconnaissance planes.
So let's see, what time was it, about midnight or 1 a.m. before you got up with the paratroopers?
No, we didn't get up with them till the next day.
Would you stop somewhere? Did you stop?
Yeah, we stayed where we were supposed to.
You went to the site and just stayed there and waited for them.
So y'all got there before they did.
No, they jumped before we did.
So they were there waiting for y'all when y'all got there.
Yeah, they were already in.
Did they have to fight their way in? Was it already cleared out?
No, there wasn't nothing cleared out because they were the first ones to get there.
So what happened after you guys joined up?
Mm.
What happened after y'all joined up the next day?
Well, we got our supplies and everything, set up a dump for food
Mm-hmm.
and all.
And you just continued to move forward through France?
Yeah. We went to St. Maria Glise. That was the first little town you hit going in.
How long did y'all stay there?
Yeah.
Stayed there about, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks.
Your group or just the whole division? And then and then what'd you do?
And we came back to England.
Came back to England.
Base camp. Back to Reading.
How'd you get back?
On the LS. Oh no, we came on a ship. Troop ship. Back across the channel.
So by mid-July you came back to England?
July, I'd say probably the last of July.
Okay, and then how long did you stay in England? Back at base camp?
Well, stayed there until September 1944,
Uh-huh.
and we went in Holland,
Where?
invasion of Holland.
Ah,
I went in Holland on a glider. The first wave it went out.
is that where you had the experience with the sniper?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, it was just, I don't know, one sniper, I don't know, she was just taking some pot shots at you.
Right, but weren't you sitting on some crates or something?
Hmm?
Is that the time when you were sitting on some crates?
Yeah. No, no, I haven't time.
Well, that was another time?
That was the morning after we got there. That was the 18th. We got there on the 17th.
Of what? 17th of July?
September.
17th of September. 44.
That's when you went into Holland.
Went in Holland. We left from the same air base that Glenn Miller did when he got lost. was there the morning before he left, he left that late that afternoon.
Do you know he was there?
Hmm.
Do you know he was there?
Yeah. I didn't see him though. See, we had to go in that town at that, to draw supplies every day, 5 days a week.
Talking about the English town?
No, the
There's Newbury is where the
Yeah,
air base
Holland.
was at.
Why were y'all going into Holland? What were y'all supposed to accomplish?
Invasion of Holland, they would get cross the Rhine River. It was a road about like from here to Durham. And they had 3 airborne ones that went in there, the 82nd, the 101st, and the British. The British is the one that went in at the upper end of it on the cross. They had the Rhine River crossed it, but they lost it. That's the movie that was a bridge too far.
bridge too far. All right.
We were supposed to go there, but some way they got the interviews, the things mixed up.
The orders?
We were trained to go there to start with. But later the British taken that and we got in between the 101st and 86th. The British and the 182nd.
Okay. Well, you got there on September 17th, and you glided in on the 18th.
Oh, God, and went in on the 17th.
Well, where'd you have the incident with the sniper bullet that came up through the glider?
I was in Germany, France.
Okay, that's all.
Oh, no, that was right, going into Holland, that's right.
Was that same trip?
That's the one,
Okay, that's the one I want to hear about.
yeah.
What happened on that one?
That's what that's a sniper, small arms fire, he just went clean on through out the top of the glider, right in.
Well, you were sitting on a crates that you got uncomfortable with?
No, see, we had a trailer in there loaded with sea rations.
Mhm.
They could see a K1. And the big bullet went clear on through the trailer, all the rations out the top of it. That was several hit the wings, but that was the only one that hit the main part of the glider.
Okay, is this the incident where you were sitting someplace and then changed your seat?
No, I was just thinking about getting up on top of it. Then they load the glider, the trailer.
Is that where you changed your seat and then the bullet came through where you were sitting?
No, I still kept my seat.
Okay, was that another incident?
I was going to do that before the bullet went up through there, but after it come through the glider, I
You
didn't
stayed where you were?
stay where I was.
How high were you?
You're about 500 feet off the ground.
That's pretty
You
good
fly
shot.
low, 3. The lower you get in, the safer it is.
The lower you can go in, the safer it is.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't hear you coming on a glider.
I know that, but I still would rather be 500 feet up than I would 200 feet.
Yeah, they get you with machine gun fired in.
What? At 200 feet?
No, they get you when you get on up higher.
Oh, really?
But they couldn't, the only thing they were shooting at us with was small arms fire.
A rifle or something like that.
Huh.
Well, those things made so much noise when they were flying, on the inside, squeaking and rattling. Did you hear the bullet when it came through?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when they hit the glider.
And that glider had 18 men on it?
Mine didn't have 18. We didn't have but 6, I don't think. 7, 8 with the pilot.
So where did you land? Where did the glider land? Where did the glider land?
Where they land?
Yeah.
It's,
An apple orchard one.
no, that was in France. That's where all the apple orchards were. Now, we had good fields of land in Holland.
So it rolled to a slid to a
See,
spot
all
where it's
the
supposed to.
fields just about in France had booby traps, posts in them. That's where our general got killed out in France. The glider hit an apple tree.
But in Holland, where'd you land in Holland?
Where the land?
Yeah.
Oh, we landed, I'm trying to think of the first little town there. That's been a long time ago. We landed at out of Nijmegen, Nijmegen.
So what happened there after it lands?
Well, you had to regroup again, just like you did to start with. Get the company back together.
And set up operations at that point right
Yeah.
there? How long did you stay at that location?
How long did what?
Stay at that location.
You didn't stay that long, you keep moving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Heading where?
We stayed, I guess we stayed about 2 or 3 weeks in the first location in Holland.
Uh-huh.
Did you have to fight to get it, or was it unoccupied? Was it occupied by the Germans?
Yeah.
You had to fight to get it.
Yeah, they had to fight to get it. That's where I lost one of my buddies. In England we had double bunks, one on top of the other. And the third day we were in Holland, they bombed this hospital where they had there. And this boy got up, had dropped 2 bombs. Had one delayed action and one at steeple on the hospital. The first hospital set up. No, this was in France where I lost him. That was the first hospital set up in France. I forgot about that. I lost 3 other ones up there in Holland.
How long did you stay in Holland before you moved on to France?
In France, I stayed there.
How long were you in Holland?
Holland, let's see. We went in Holland September 17th. And came back to Camp Moulin in France. That's where I met Bob. Met those 2 boys.
Where was that?
I expect we stayed in Holland probably 2 months or more.
So now you're in November? Late November before you move on to...
Yeah, I know it's snow on the ground up there.
There was?
Yeah.
So you went from Holland to where?
Holland back to France. That's where base camp was set up in France. Yeah.
Are you guys marching on all these, or you being transported by trucks?
Truck, yeah.
So you didn't have to do not much foot action.
When we was in Holland, it was the British Army.
He was in the quartermaster group. Quartermaster would have trucks.
The ones that had the Jeeps in them was the one that most of the time that they went through the floor.
For why didn't y'all had a trailer in yours?
Yeah, that trailer of mine.
Well, that wasn't a 1/4-ton Jeeps that crashed. Also had also a 3/4 and 1-ton Jeep that went through the
No,
floor.
just a regular Jeep.
Regular Jeep.
Yeah. Then you had to get together that Jeep and to pull my trailer. That had to get together after you landed. But I had a real foxhole hollow. I had that thing in the ground.
How
Had
deep?
logs over top of it, dirt over top of it, camouflage tent over there.
How deep was the foxhole?
How
How deep?
deep was it? About 4 foot. Had room for 3 in it. I had electric lights in it and everything.
All 3 of you dig it out?
We tapped the line out there and run us lights to it.
Not the image I had. What, all 3 of you dig it out?
Yeah.
That was the Hilton Hotel.
See, again, the quartermaster group knew how to get the supplies. They, whatever they had in it, they had it.
That's the one Earl Rogers said that tell about that. Yeah, I chose it to him.
Where you got that?
Had
You're
it
not
lined
taking
with
pictures, are
blankets.
you? Don't
But-
get me in here.
And the mess sergeant, when you go and fill him, he didn't have nothing to do, so he went and made the draw free. This the other supply sergeant, he went with me. He stole all he could steal. I stole all I could get, And then all three of us stole all of it. We had one truckload left over. Couldn't give it away, had to carry it back to the